Part 274. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2731. There is a lot of grief. The things on the scene are displayed very purely. Anyway, what was shown was probably such a very real attitude. All kinds of ideas gather here, and what everyone says and does in their hearts basically has their original form. Following these complaints, there were bursts of crazy cursing. The culprit of this matter is naturally the Colosseum. It's too dangerous to play. The Colosseum makes our mental calculations clear. Grass. Pit, vomit. I'm the first to spit out this wave. Rubbish. Bitch. Who said you want a stud? The invincible black horse Jean-Tien can't do it anymore, it's going to be cold. Wipe. Eat people without spitting out their bones. Shameless Colosseum, I understand it completely. In the final analysis, isn't that the case? I'm convinced, I'm completely convinced. If I still set foot in this ghost place from now on, I'll be a dog. It's over. The 5 billion low-grade star cores I borrowed usury to make money. Now, I haven't won the star core now, but it's all upside down. Practice the cool moonlight for me. How should this be done? I'm so panicked. Brothers, the lessons learned from the past will guide the future. Never set foot in this gambling world in the future. Garbage. I'd better kill myself, so I don't need to face these pressures. I stole those star cores from my father, this time I will be beaten to death. Gambling dogs have always liked to have both sides, and then roared wildly, probably showing such an extraordinarily pure attitude. Needless to say about the others, the feeling is basically in place. Crazy roars are endless, and the posture of gnashing teeth is vividly displayed. Anyway, what I express this time is such an idea. Very pure. Also very real. Analyzing the current battle situation, Fang Fan is indeed not optimistic. Husband, he won't really have an accident. This won't work. Master, save my husband, he is vomiting blood. This black-robed man is terrifying. Xiao Liyuli's eyes widened, and while she was talking, the sound of her breathing seemed very real. At this moment, there will be some sense of worry and anxiety. It's pure and true. Although Lu Jiyi on the side didn't speak, what she expressed was probably such an attitude. Needless to say the rest for the time being, a wave of feelings directly in place. Murong Yu, the first-level tutor of Guangming Academy, bit her red lips tightly. The worry in her pupils was beyond words, but she didn't rush out too impulsively. She still upholds the most basic sense, and she knows exactly what the current situation is like. The more it is at this time, the less you can worry about anxiety. All in all, it is necessary to stabilize, fully stabilize. That is it. Murong Yu is also aware of her own strength. Although she has been promoted to the Saint Venerable realm, she is just a low-level Saint Venerable, and is nothing in a place like the Colosseum. If she dared to act recklessly now, she might be killed by the strong in the Colosseum within minutes. At present, the only ones who have the ability to intimidate the Colosseum are Tai Shujia and Fu Jing, the vice president of the Priest Academy. Fu Jing, the vice president of the Priest Academy, is at the pinnacle of the Saint realm, with tyrannical combat power. Although Tai Shujia is a high-level saint, he is 3 points stronger than the peak saint. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2732. However, Fu Jing, the vice president of the Priest Academy, had always looked at Fang Fan coldly, and it might be impossible for her to come forward. Now I can only focus on Tai Shiji. Needless to say about other things for the time being, this feeling followed in place virtually. This time the idea is very pure. Teacher grand uncle. Murong, you just mentioned something lightly, and Tai Shuja completely understood what Murong you meant. It's just that this kind of thing is really not easy to deal with. Everything involved needs to be considered. After all, there are indeed many things involved. If it gets involved a little bit, it may completely collapse invisibly. Thoughts gather here, there are always some other feelings. I know what you mean. But the battle on the arena is not over yet, and Fang Fan has never conceded defeat. If I come forward at the mouth of the yoke, I will be convinced. Uncle G wriggled his lips, and while talking, the gesture of gnashing his teeth was particularly vivid. Needless to say other things for the time being, this time the feelings have increased invisibly. In fact, the most important thing to do at this time is to be rational. Mr. Murong, don't worry. Actually, I don't think it's a big deal. Kid Fang Fan hasn't used his backhand yet. He still has a lot of trump cards, so there is no need to worry about it. In the end, Fang Fan will definitely be able to kill this black-robed monster directly. Sit and watch Yunju and Yunju, just watch the final outcome. Steady. The corners of Bai Biao's mouth raised slightly, while talking, he nodded and bowed quickly. Anyway, what is displayed at this moment is probably such an attitude. If Fang Fan is really defeated, for Bai Biao, the 1 trillion low-grade star cores he has worked so hard to accumulate will really be in vain. This is naturally not the picture he wants to see. At the beginning, Bai Biao was really worried about what would happen to Fang Fan, but at this moment, after Fang Fan had fought with the man in black, there was no nervous expression on his face, so there was no need to panic at all. Now hold on tight, the mentality is good, and there is no need to think about other things at all. Overall, be safe. But this black-robed man is indeed unusual. I always feel that something is not right. Black blood. Normal people don't have black blood. Although Fang Fan has a lot of cards in his hole, he may be plotted against. If it was really plotted against, the situation would be different. Murong Yu's beautiful eyes trembled slightly, and the seriousness on his face was beyond words when he was speaking. Anyway, it was probably this kind of posture that was displayed at this moment. Needless to say about other things for the time being, thoughts are gathered in my heart, full of worry. At this moment, everyone's eyes are focused on Tai Shiji. The one who has the idea and ability to rescue Fang Fan at this moment is the one in front of him. Uncle G narrowed his eyes slightly, rolled his eyes a few times, and then his cloudy eyes began to glow. Finally, he stretched out his hand and silently placed it on Bai Biao's shoulder. You and Fang Fan have spent the longest time together. I believe what you say. Wait, just wait. My apprentice, I believe. Tai Shiji murmured to himself, then took a deep breath and followed up. Although the situation is a bit grim at the moment, Tai Shiji still has a sense of hope. After all, Fang Fan created many miracles. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2733. On the combat platform, Fang Fan and the man in black continued to fight fiercely. Although Fang Fan was still being pressed and beaten, he was able to dodge wave after wave with his agility. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, then subconsciously licked his lips. The pressure was still great. Fang Fan looked at the injury on his chest, and saw that the injured area was festering crazily, and then quickly turned gray-black. The things on the scene are displayed very purely, and Fang Fan's facial expressions change very quickly. Here are the signs of poisoning. Didn't expect it to turn into this. Use the serum card. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and then directly activated a card, and then Fang Fan's chest injury was completely healed. At this moment, Fang Fan still has a lot of serum components on his body. At this time, the black-robed man's attack came again. Fang Fan collided with the weapon in the hands of the black-robed man with Zhan Tianjian, and then the black-robed man frowned, and then changed his hand and scratched at Fang Fan. When his hand touched Fang Fan's arm, his body suddenly trembled. Ah! Ah! It hurts, it hurts. What the hell is this? The black-robed man's complexion changed, and he roared crazily. Fang Fan's eyes lit up. I didn't expect the serum card to be useful to this guy. The serum card is aimed at all kinds of toxins. He had already used it fully when he was fighting against that cat-eared girl, and her infinite combat power exploded in full swing. Fang Fan let out a mouthful of turbid air silently, and his facial expression changed very quickly. It seems that this black-robed man also has a toxin-gathering physique, otherwise he would not be afraid of the serum. However, this guy may have some physical problems. Although he looks extremely frightened, he has not lost his sanity. Probably can only weaken his combat power to a certain extent. At this moment, the combat power of the black-robed man has probably been weakened from a 6-star high-level sanctuary to a 6-star mid-level sanctuary, that's all. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised silently. If this is the case, then the battle can continue. This wave of feelings followed completely in place. Interesting. Fang Fan's eyeballs followed suit, and then he held the Zhan Tian sword in his hand, and smeared a little serum on the Zhan Tian sword. Asshole. Just such a thing, dare to be rampant in front of me. Die. Must die. This wave is sure to die. These small tricks have no effect on me. They will only speed up your death. Crazy howls followed more and more, as if they wanted to completely overthrow everything in front of them. In the current battle, Fang Fan and the black-robed man will probably be able to evenly compete. After more than a dozen moves, Fang Fan waved the Zhan Tian sword in his hand and spun brilliantly in the air. Glancing over, Fang Fan nodded silently, and the smiles on his face grew more and more. If you only have this combat power, then you are probably going to be cold. Fang Fan shrugged with confidence. Immediately, Fang Fan directly communicated his will to Nai Yan. Nai Yan possesses the 7th-class god position of Tianji Star Disciple. And the power of battle control can naturally beat all dissatisfied. Battle control, activate the power of heavenly secrets, double the combat power of the designated target, and reduce the combat power of another designated target by half. The duration is 10 minutes, and the cooldown period is 3 days. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2734. Once the battle control power erupts, Fang Fan can directly double his combat power, and the man in black will naturally reduce his combat power by half. Compared with the two, Fang Fan's combat power has been directly increased by 4 times. If there is too much difference in combat power between Fang Fan and this black-robed man, then no matter how much he tries to control the battle, it will be useless. But at this moment, the benefits of using battle control are too great. The benefits are self-evident. This time the idea directly followed the full-scale explosion. Clang! The Zhan Tian sword in Fang Fan's hand collided with the weapon in the black-robed man's hand. If just now, even with the suppression of the serum, Fang Fan would have been equal to the black-robed man at most, but now it's completely different. After Fang Fan performed a move, the body of the black-robed man retreated directly. Even the soft sword in his hand couldn't hold on, and the feeling of aggrieved all over his body exploded. How can it be? Why did it become like this? No. This is not right. There is something tricky, there is a problem. There is definitely a problem. My combat power, how has my combat power been weakened so much? Asshole. Asshole. Actually plotting against me. Asshole. Asshole. Damn it. Damn it. Then came the sound of roaring, and the things on the scene were displayed in a particularly pure way. The mentality of the man in black seems to be a bit broken. Originally, he had the absolute upper hand, but why did it become like this now? What did he do wrong? There is definitely something wrong with this. Just don't know where the problem is. So at this moment, my whole body is trembling. It's so damn difficult. Mentality collapsed. The man in black waved his arms. No matter what, he couldn't imagine why the changes before and after were so great. The man in black took a deep breath, the corners of his mouth twitched subconsciously, and his facial expression changed very quickly. Needless to say anything else, this feeling is very pure. Fang Fan was too lazy to say anything, so he took the opportunity to continue attacking. After all, this battle control magic skill is only valid for 10 minutes. When the time is up, Fang Fan will be beaten back to his original shape. I do not believe. The black-robed man is obviously still a stubborn person, and he still seemed unwilling to be defeated by Fang Fan's move at this moment, and then he shouted violently and continued to fight back crazily. Of course, for him at this moment, it seemed a little head-scratched. This is T2 venting her inner dissatisfaction here. Boom. The body of the man in black fell to the ground again. At this moment, the black robe on his body was directly pierced by Fang Fan, and there were some wounds on his body, and black blood gushed out crazily. A glance at the past, more or less seems a little strange and shocking. This doesn't look right, very wrong. If something goes wrong, there must be a demon. There must be tricks in it. At this moment, the clothes of the man in black are torn, but he can still see the skin inside, which is quite different from normal people. The exposed part is actually all black, and it's smoky and rainy. It doesn't look like normal black skin, it's like a cloud of black smoke. Is this a human or a ghost? Fang Fan let out a breath, and his complexion changed very quickly, which seemed to be a big problem. Everything involved has changed. Cough. Cough, cough, cough. The man in black coughed up strands of black blood under the heavy blow, and the mask slowly fell off. Immediately, I saw its true face. Divine System of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2735. Faceless. Not even a face. This doesn't even have a human face. Is this a human? What the hell is this? My CAO. He doesn't even have a mouth and a nose, how can he talk? Disgusting, I vomited. Grass, this face is flat, just so neat. It's so weird, my mentality just exploded. Take off so much. This feels very wrong, what can I say? I'm also desperate, okay. What is going on in the Colosseum? This ghost thing can go to the Colosseum. Hee. It seems that the Colosseum really spared no effort to cut our leaks. Was it a demon or a ghost that was involved? I vomited, this wave is really vomited. Garbage. It's too rubbish. Wipe, disgusting. Hee, but with that boss who cuts the sky, so what if there is a conspiracy in the Colosseum? Want to cut our leaks, do you think it is possible? Hee, I cut myself off in the end, it's fun. Interesting. It's so interesting. Waves of roaring sounds followed, and the sense of explosion on the scene was extremely pure. Needless to say anything else, this feeling followed invisibly. At this moment, bursts of explosive sounds came, and the excitement was beyond words. Not good. This is the heavenly demon. The faceless heavenly demon. This is the faceless demon. The smile on Tai Shuji's face stopped abruptly, replaced by a sense of panic and anxiety from the bottom of his heart. Glancing over this time, the sound of inhaling couldn't help but become extremely hasty. Problem occurs. This time something really happened. Now it is not so simple to solve. Is the Colosseum crazy? Even this taboo exists. Aren't they afraid that the entire Colosseum will be wiped out? Hateful. Taishuji clutched his chest. While talking, the corners of his mouth twitched crazily. This time the thoughts gathered here, and the changes in facial expressions were particularly real. Needless to say anything else for the time being, this feeling is followed by a broken position invisibly. So thrilling and exciting. The mentality has exploded. A faceless demon. WTF? Is this strong? Master, are you worrying too much? Don't you think this faceless demon is also suppressed by Fang Fanboy? As for the horror, steady a little, it's not a big problem. Just wait and collect the star core now. Master, this time you bet 5 trillion low-grade star core Fang Fan to win, you are about to lose. Bai Piao waved his hand, his mood was very good. At this moment, in Bai Piao's eyes, there is basically only the star core. Now this guy is completely blinded by lard, and the star core is more kind to him than anyone else. Thinking this way in my heart, the changing trend of facial expressions is particularly rapid. The faceless demon. The faceless demon. If it's really the faceless demon, Fang Fan is really in danger. Teacher Grand Uncle, can you stop this competition? This Colosseum is too bold. Although this Colosseum is remote, it is also using the territory of the Holy City of Light. How dare they? Don't they know what the consequences will be if this faceless demon loses control? While talking, Murongyu had a look of urgency on his face. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 2736. Obviously, Murongyu knew something inside, that's why he looked so nervous at this moment, and the frightened look in his eyes was particularly clear at this moment. Needless to say about other things for the time being, this feeling followed in place virtually. Anyway, what is expressed is probably such a pure feeling. Out of control. What's the meaning? Master, do you know something? Xiao Liulai on the side blinked, and then asked urgently. Needless to say anything else, this sense of panic is very real. Why? Actually, I don't know much. I only know that this kind of thing is terrible, they belong to the rare demon clan. This faceless heavenly demon is even more outstanding among them, a noble among the heavenly demons. Once they are driven to a desperate situation, they will even directly summon the demon god among the dark gods. When the will of the demon god comes, Fang Fan will be really in danger. At that time, the situation will only become more severe. Call. You should know what I mean. Murongyu swallowed a mouthful of saliva, thinking to himself, his eyes turned subconsciously, and all kinds of urgency in his heart exploded at this moment. A demon god descends. How does it involve the level of the gods? Xiao Liulai blinked her eyes, and was stunned at the moment. As she spoke, the corners of her mouth trembled crazily. Needless to say anything else, this feeling immediately took off. This is too surprising. If this really has anything to do with the gods, it's going to be too serious. Teacher Taishu, only you can control the audience here. Otherwise, before we reach this point, let's stop the competition first. Murongyu pursed his red lips, while talking, the tension on his face was beyond words. Needless to say about other things for the time being, this feeling followed in place virtually. Nervous and urgent. Probably such a pure idea. Stop. I'm afraid I can't cry now. The matter has not reached that point yet. If I make a move, the Colosseum will definitely take the opportunity to make trouble. At that time, I will really fall behind. The Colosseum is really crazy. Dare to do anything. Crazy. Taishaji gritted his teeth, and when he spoke, the gesture of gnashing his teeth was vividly displayed. Needless to say anything else, the aggrieved feeling in my heart at this moment is very real. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Then can we just watch them do whatever they want here? Teacher granduncle, save my husband. Xiao Liyulai gritted her teeth, the worry on her face was beyond words. Master, otherwise, or I'll go and persuade Vice President Fu Zheng. Maybe after I admit my mistake, she can help. Lu Jiyi lowered her head, and while she was talking, her complexion changed from time to time. All in all, the various feelings in her heart at this moment were particularly clear. Lu Jiyi used to be Fu Jing's disciple, but later fell out because of some things. Now that Lu Jiyi was able to say such words, she had made up her mind and was ready to be humiliated and punished by Fu Jing, the vice president of the Priest Academy. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2737. Speaking of it, it's all for Fang Fan's safety. The surroundings suddenly fell into a state of complete silence. The scene is more or less a bit cold. Cough. Can you be a little calmer? What's the big deal? I thought this faceless demon had some special ability. It was just summoning the demon god's avatar and thoughts. It's nothing at all. Really, I really think too much. That kid Fang Fan has wiped out the true god consciousness. Bai Biao babbled, and suddenly stopped abruptly. He suddenly realized that he had talked too much. It's good to understand such a little thing in your heart, but as for talking so much. After all, this involves Fang Fan's secret. Brother Bai Biao, the more you talk, the more outrageous you are. True God divine consciousness, true God incarnation. What kind of existence is that? How can human beings fight against it? Even if it's a demigod boss, I'm afraid it's hard to resist. Brother Bai Biao, there must be a limit to bragging. Gisha sighed softly, then said with a wry smile from the side. Humph. You know how to say unrealistic things. While speaking, Sima Zhen, the special tutor of the God of War Academy, rolled his eyes frantically. Bai Biao shrugged. No one believed it was the best. Anyway, he slipped up just now. But at this moment, there are two people in the crowd with calm expressions on their faces. It's definitely unrealistic to say that others will obliterate the true God's consciousness, but for a freak like him, maybe, not necessarily, maybe, probably. Murong Yu took a deep breath, thinking to himself, his body trembled unnaturally. At this moment, there are naturally many thoughts in my heart that will explode in an all-round way. Real, yet explicit. Uncle G nodded subconsciously. My apprentice can't even see through myself. Although Bai Biao's words are unreliable in most cases, some words are still listenable. So, maybe it's all because of our unfounded worries. Taishaji squinted his eyes, thinking in his heart, and then slowly followed up. If you feel strenuous, admit defeat immediately. This is the faceless heavenly demon. It's extremely weird. You can summon the incarnation of the demon god. Taishaji suddenly roared from below to ensure that his voice could reach Fang Fan's ears. After Fang Fan on the number 8 arena heard it, his eyes narrowed instantly. It turns out that there is such a thing. If this is the case, there will be more things involved in it. Faceless demon. Is this the conspiracy arranged for him by the Colosseum? It turned out to be such a ghost thing. He. It seems that we really have to make a quick decision. If it is delayed for too long, the situation may be unfavorable. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, thinking to himself, and then let out a mouthful of turbid air, his facial expression changing so real at this moment. Needless to say anything else for the time being, this feeling is followed by a broken position. At this moment, the entire Colosseum was in commotion, because Tai Shuja had already named this strange black-robed man as the Faceless Demon. As for the Faceless Heavenly Demon, some gamblers and audience members still knew some details, and their eyes widened at this moment, completely stunned. This wave of feelings immediately exploded. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 2738. So exciting. Feel the stimulation, and the mentality seems to be a little broken. The Faceless Demon, yes. This thing is the Faceless Demon, I have seen it in ancient books before. Grass. Didn't this ghost thing disappear long ago? Why did it still appear here? Crazy. Really crazy. What kind of trouble is this going to do? Damn, a wave of mentality collapsed directly. This faceless heavenly demon must have been arranged by the Colosseum. Isn't that too stupid? No wonder the gamblers at Colosseum know there is no limit on the amount of bets. What the hell, just want to cut a wave of leaks thoroughly. Grass, the mentality is blown up. This wave is really blown up. Get out. Get out. It's disgusting to the end. I just want to hit the wall directly, just hit it to death. Damn it, can you show some face? This is completely in the state of a dog. I really vomited this wave. It's disgusting to the end. Waves of noise followed, all complaining about the Colosseum. I have to say that this time the Colosseum was really dirty. Directly hit Shameless on the pillar of shame. Shameless especially. Dirty as hell. The things on the scene are displayed in a particularly pure way. Needless to say, everything else is just such a feeling. Of course, you can never wake up a person who is pretending to be asleep. Since the Colosseum officials have done this time, they are naturally not afraid of the abuse of these gamblers and audiences. For them, they only need to earn the star core. As for other things, are they important? Is it important? Don't need to care at all. It was a wave of pounding when I went up, and I didn't care about it at all. What was shown was probably such a pure gesture. This idea is so real. Inside the Colosseum, in luxurious rooms. Second Master, the audience's mentality is a little unstable. If something goes wrong, it will not be good for the reputation of our Colosseum. If they gather together to make trouble in our Colosseum, it will be difficult to deal with. Second Master, or forget it. Is this a draw? The middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, Baoming, took a deep breath. While talking, the corners of his mouth twitched subconsciously. At this moment, he felt his head buzzing. What kind of trouble is this going to make? Can't we stop it a little bit? If things go on like this, something will really happen. Does this Colosseum really not want to continue to operate? When something happens, how to deal with it? These are big questions. Never mind. Draw. Do you think it's possible? This group of gambling dogs will also say a few words and yell a few words. How dare they be serious? It's really ridiculous. The middle-aged man who was called the Second Master sneered, and while he didn't care, he became more and more excited. This is so interesting to watch Bidu. The tip of the needle against the wheat on. Meet your opponent. Tisk tisk tisk, interesting, really interesting. Looking at this wave, it feels more and more exciting. I didn't expect this kid named Fang Fan to be able to suppress even the faceless demon. Tisk tisk tisk. Extraordinary talent. This is a born beast fighter. It's a pity that the road is narrow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2739. The middle-aged man known as the Second Master sneered, and then bursts of glints of light began to flash in his eyes, as if he wanted to completely crush everything in front of him invisible. At this moment, this idea is especially true. Bao Ming, the middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, smiled wryly. It is still unknown who narrowed the road. In this aspect, can't we just stop a little bit? How did it become like this? This F***ing brain is buzzing, this wave is too difficult. Second Master, this faceless demon has already retreated. If he is completely driven to a dead end, and the devil's incarnation and consciousness are really summoned, then, our Colosseum will be affected at that time. It's not like you don't know what will happen then. As far as our Colosseum is concerned, how can it withstand that level of destruction? Although our Colosseum is located on the edge of the holy city of light, but if we really do this by then, the situation will be completely reversed. At that time, our Colosseum will really be fully revealed. If there are big figures from the Temple of the Light Alliance intervening at that time, how should we deal with ourselves? Second Master. We have to take these factors into consideration. Bao Ming, the middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, twitched unnaturally as he spoke. This wave seems too difficult. What kind of trouble is this? This wave of mentality immediately collapsed. But if something happens, is this something they can control? A reversal of the situation will make them sink into it completely and cannot extricate themselves. How? Are you scared? The middle-aged man in a simple robe smiled coldly, then waved his armless left hand, with a crazy look in his eyes. This time is the rhythm to be completely suppressed. This attitude is undoubtedly revealed. Needless to say anything else, this feeling followed invisibly. The gloomy look in the pupils increased more and more, and the facial expressions changed extremely quickly. Second Master, this is not a question of whether you are afraid or not. After all, this involves our entire Colosseum. At that time, the situation will no longer be under our control. In order to harvest this wave of leaks, it is really unnecessary for us to take such a big risk. Now if our Colosseum unilaterally announces the end of the competition and then refunds the star cores that those bettors have bet on, they must be willing, and our Colosseum has no loss. Second Master, why not do this? We really don't need to continue taking risks. The middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, Bao Ming, swallowed his saliva, and while talking, his eyeballs rolled rapidly, and all kinds of feelings in his heart invisibly increased. Anyway, at this moment, I naturally have some different feelings in my heart. Gradually get in touch with it, and naturally everything becomes clear in my heart. Snort. Don't you understand the principle of seeking wealth and wealth? How could I bow to those gambling dogs? I've already swallowed it, and I want to spit it out. Do you think it's possible? The middle-aged man in a simple robe licked his lips, the excitement on his face was beyond words, and this stroke became completely excited. Needless to say anything else for the time being, this feeling is followed by a broken position virtually. Anyway, the feeling is more real. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 2740. But now this is not our home field. If I don't spit it out, I don't know what it will turn into. Call. You should understand what I mean. Although this wave of leaks can harvest tens of billions of low-grade star cores, the danger factor is there. This is a gamble with our entire Colosseum. I, I still don't think this is very reliable. Call. The middle-aged man in a simple robe shook his head while talking, and the aggrieved expression on his face became more and more, and he didn't know how much anger was generated in his heart. Okay. Do not talk. I've made up my mind. Stop talking. You know the danger, how can that kid named Fang Fan not know? Although he has a certain upper hand now, so what? It's still unknown what it will turn into in the end. At that time, he will definitely not dare to press the faceless demon too hard. At that time, when the last step is reached, I will choose to give up on my own. When he admits defeat, all the star cores will belong to our Colosseum. What danger can there be? The middle-aged man in a simple robe was talking, his eyes flickered with a different kind of brilliance. While talking at this moment, his breathing became imperceptibly rapid, and all kinds of excitement exploded at this moment. Needless to say about other things for the time being, the feeling will follow in place virtually. Second Lord. This is your ideal situation. In case something unexpected happens, how should you deal with yourself? Second Master, you are really taking too much risk. Second Master. Otherwise, you still. Snapped. A loud slap sounded. Baoming, the middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, subconsciously touched his blushing face, and subconsciously twitched the corners of his mouth. How did it become like this? This mentality exploded. These are all his loyal words. Why did he get a slap in the face? Baoming, the middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, took a deep breath, and naturally felt extremely upset in his heart. In the end, what do you want to do? Can't you just be a little more steady? Second Master. The middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, Baoming, gritted his teeth, and roared twice with a displeased face. His facial expression changed very sincerely. Shut up. Just follow my orders. There are some things that you don't need to worry about, so don't worry about them. That's all. Get out. The middle-aged man in a simple robe snorted coldly, and then said impatiently. Baoming, the middle-aged steward of the Colosseum, wriggled his lips and wanted to say something more, but after seeing the posture of the person in front of him, he completely died down. What else can this do? I can only follow the stop. Who let others be the master? On the number 8 arena, Fang Fan's spirit was tense all the time, ready to launch a full-scale attack immediately. This wave of battle is going to start at this moment. More intense battles are coming soon. The man in black robe, that is, the faceless celestial demon Sharpthorn, slowly climbed up from the pool of black blood on the ground at this moment, his eyes flickered with mad killing intent. A wave of feeling is in place, as if it is about to sprint out completely. What shines out of his dark eyes is madness and death.